Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel.
Hidden evidence could destroy Michael's frame job. Will Dante and Chase stop him before it's too late? Poor Charles in chaos as Britt and Emma uncover smoking gun evidence. In a stunning development that could turn the entire case upside down, Britt Westburn and her young ally Emma Devane have inadvertently stumbled upon evidence that could tear apart Michael Corinthus's carefully constructed scheme to frame his ex-wife Willow. During a late-night investigation into Professor Henry Dalton's laboratory, the team made a shocking discovery hidden in a concealed folder, damning proof that Michael, not Willow, was the one who planted the gun at Elizabeth Baldwin's house. The evidence is so compelling that it could potentially exonerate Willow entirely and expose Michael's calculated betrayal. But time is running out, and Michael is already moving heaven and earth to destroy the proof before it reaches the courthouse and destroys him. The discovery that changes everything. The laboratory at General Hospital usually sits quiet after hours, but tonight it buzzes with tension as Britt and Emma move carefully through the dimly lit corridors. Their mission is seemingly routine. They need to access some files from Dalton's workspace for reasons connected to their own investigation. Emma had been trying to steal Britt's key fob all week, but tonight, fortune smiles on them. When they finally gain access to the secured section of the lab, what they find stops them dead in their tracks. "Oh my God," Emma whispers, her voice trembling as she pulls open a hidden drawer tucked behind a stack of research binders. Inside lies a folder marked with Michael's initials and timestamps from the night of Drew's shooting. Britt leans over her shoulder, her eyes widening. These photographs, this surveillance footage, it's Michael. He's at Elizabeth's house. He's placing the gun himself. The images tell a story that neither woman expected to find. Clear timestamps, multiple angles, evidence that irrefutably proves Michael staged the entire scene. The photos capture him entering Elizabeth's house through the side entrance, glancing around carefully, and placing the weapon in the exact location where Anna Devane would later discover it. It's the smoking gun, quite literally, that proves Willow has been sitting in a jail cell, awaiting trial for a crime she never committed. Britt's hands shake as she holds the photographs. "We have to show this to the authorities immediately. Willow is innocent. This proves everything." Emma nods, but there's concern in her eyes. "We need to move fast. Michael, if he finds out we have this." They don't have time to finish the thought. The race against time. Back at the Corinthos penthouse, Michael sits in the darkness, his phone buzzing with an alert. His security system has detected unauthorized access to Dalton's laboratory. His blood runs cold. He doesn't know exactly what was accessed, but he knows Dalton keeps records. Michael knows because he had Dalton place certain documentation, their insurance, leverage, a failsafe in case anything went wrong with his plan. Michael springs into action with the urgency of a man whose entire empire is about to crumble. He texts his private security detail and heads straight for his car. He has to get to that laboratory before anyone else can access what's there. More importantly, he has to find out who was snooping around. Within minutes, Dante Falconeri receives an urgent call. It's Chase, the former police detective who has maintained his own investigation into the shooting, convinced that something about the case against Willow doesn't add up. "Dante, listen to me. I think something's about to go down," Chase says, his voice sharp with urgency. "I've been monitoring unusual activity around the hospital, and Michael just passed through the security checkpoint heading toward the lab wing. Something's wrong here." Dante hesitates only for a moment before responding. "You're right. I'm heading over there now. Meet me there in 5 minutes. The desperate gambit. The laboratory doors swing open just as Michael rounds the corner. He's not expecting to find Britt and Emma standing there, folder in hand, faces pale with shock and realization. "Michael," Britt says carefully, her voice steady despite the fear creeping up her spine. "You need to stop right there." Michael's jaw clenches. His eyes dart to the folder in Emma's hands, and in that split second, everything becomes clear. He knows exactly what they've found. "Give me that," he says coldly, his voice devoid of any of the warmth he typically reserves for the hospital staff. This is a different Michael one stripped of pretense, driven by panic and desperation. Michael, we're going to the PCPD with this, Emma says, stepping backward. Willow is innocent. She deserves to know the truth, and she deserves her life back. Michael advances on them, his face twisted with an emotion somewhere between rage and desperation. You don't understand what you're doing. You don't understand the situation with my children. Willow is unstable, dangerous. She's withdrawing now, and that doesn't make framing her for attempted murder acceptable. Britt interrupts, holding the folder away from him. Michael, this has to end. Let us take this to Dante and Chase. Let the truth come out. No, Michael says flatly. Before anyone can react, he moves toward the folder, attempting to grab it from Emma's hands. A struggle ensues. Papers scatter across the laboratory floor, some photographs sliding under equipment. Others clutch desperately by the young woman who realizes the implications of what she's holding. The police close in. The sound of sirens echoes through the hospital corridors just as the altercation reaches its peak. Dante and Chase burst through the laboratory doors simultaneously, their weapons drawn, their expressions grave. PCPD. Everybody freeze, Dante shouts, positioning himself between Michael and the two women. Chase rushes to Emma and Britt, ensuring they're unharmed, while his eyes take in the scattered photographs and documents covering the laboratory floor. He doesn't need to ask what happened. The evidence is literally at their feet. Michael's face goes white. For a moment, he considers making a run for it. But with both law enforcement officers present and his plan literally unraveling on the laboratory floor, he knows it's over. All the careful manipulation, all the quiet cruelty, all the calculated moves designed to keep Willow locked away, it all falls apart in a single instant. Michael Corinthos, you're under arrest for conspiracy, evidence tampering, and filing a false report, Dante says grimly, his voice professional but tinged with disappointment. Dante had always respected Michael, had seen him as someone caught in impossible circumstances. But this framing an innocent woman, attempting to destroy evidence, this crosses a line that even Dante's understanding cannot bridge. Chase begins collecting the photographs carefully, bagging them as evidence. His jaw is set firm, and there's a look of vindication mixed with sadness in his eyes. He knew something was wrong. He suspected Michael all along, but suspicion and evidence are two different things. Now, finally, the truth is in his hands. The reckoning begins. Within hours, the news spreads through Port Charles like wildfire. The man who rose to become a pillar of the Quartermain and Corinthos families, the supposedly upstanding businessman who claimed to be fighting for his children's welfare, has been exposed as willing to destroy an innocent woman's life to achieve his goals. At the police station, in an interrogation room down the hall from where Willow has spent countless hours denying charges, Dante sits across from Michael. Chase stands nearby, watching. Why? Dante asks simply. It's all he can manage. The question encompasses everything: the betrayal, the calculated cruelty, the willingness to sacrifice Willow on the altar of revenge against Drew. Michael doesn't answer immediately. When he finally speaks, his voice is hollow. She was going to take my kids away from me. She and Drew, they were going to. I couldn't let that happen. I won't let that happen. So you framed her instead, Chase says coldly. You let her sit in a cell away from her own children for a crime you committed. You were willing to let her go to prison for years. Michael has no response. There is no justification, no excuse that could possibly make this right. The end of a conspiracy. As news reaches the courthouse, Willow Tate is released on bail pending the dismissal of charges. She walks out of Pentonville prison in a daze, barely able to comprehend that the nightmare is finally over. The evidence that Britt and Emma discovered, the photographs, the timestamps, the irrefutable proof of Michael's guilt is more than enough to shatter the prosecution's case and vindicate her completely. Alexis Davis, Willow's attorney, meets her at the gates with tears in her eyes. You're free, she says simply. Michael did this, not you. Everyone will know the truth now. Willow falls into her friend's arms, overwhelmed by emotions she can barely process. She had known in her heart that she was innocent, but innocence means nothing in a court of law without evidence. Now, finally, the truth has come to light. The case against Michael Corinthos is damning. The evidence of his guilt is overwhelming. As the reality of the situation settles over Port Charles, the question that everyone is asking is the same. What happens now to a man who was willing to destroy everything: his reputation, his family, his freedom in pursuit of revenge? The answer will shake the foundations of Port Charles and change the lives of everyone involved forever. NEXT. Dear devoted fans of Port Charles intrigue, as the layers of deception peel back in General Hospital, one puzzle lingers like a fog over the harbor. Who exactly is the enigmatic C behind Britt Westburn's tainted medication? While the drama swirls around this shadowy figure, fresh rumors suggest the true puppet master might not be the obvious suspect, but rather an undiscovered sibling lurking in the Faison family tree. This revelation could reshape everything we thought we knew about legacy villains and their twisted legacies. In the heart of General Hospital's latest twists, spoilers hint at a compelling alternative to the much-speculated boss whose name begins with C on that ominous package. We can rule out Jens Zidwell right away. His dialogue makes it clear he's answering to someone higher up the chain, a detail that fans have dissected in online forums for weeks. The prevailing theory has long pointed to Caesar Faison, the infamous criminal mastermind presumed dead, pulling strings from beyond the grave. But what if Caesar isn't operating solo? Imagine a brother, equally ruthless, stepping into the spotlight. Enter the tantalizing possibility of Casper Faison, Caesar's long-lost sibling, a name that evokes the same sinister charm while fitting the C clue like a glove. This isn't just wild speculation. It's rooted in the soap's rich history of surprise family ties that keep viewers glued to their screens. Longtime enthusiasts of General Hospital often puzzle over the origins of the Faison surname itself, a mystery that adds depth to this potential bombshell. Caesar's documented parents were Emil Krieg, a stern figure from his shadowy past, and Sybil McTavish, whose own lineage remains sparsely detailed in the show's archives. Yet, Caesar once adopted the alias Herr Krieg, hinting at a deliberate nod to his paternal roots. Could Faison trace back to a forgotten grandmother's maiden name passed down through generations of intrigue? In recent seasons, the writers have delighted in unveiling relatives who emerge from the woodwork. Think of the surprise cousins and aunts that appended lives in Port Charles. Extending this trend, it's entirely plausible that Caesar harbored a brother named Casper, someone who shared his affinity for deception and power plays. Picture Casper as the quieter counterpart, perhaps raised in secrecy to avoid the family's notorious spotlight, only to resurface now when the stakes are highest. This brotherly dynamic would not only explain the C initial, but also inject fresh tension into ongoing plots, forcing characters like Anna Devane to confront echoes of past foes in unexpected forms. Delving deeper, the notion of twins in the Faison lineage feels almost predestined, given General Hospital's penchant for doppelganger drama. The show has masterfully woven twin narratives into its fabric over the past few years, creating storylines that blend identity crises with high-stakes revelations. Recall Anna Devane's shocking discovery of her twin, Alexandra Alex Devane, who had been masquerading as her for years, sowing chaos in espionage circles. That twist alone rewrote Anna's history, especially when it emerged that Alex, not Anna, had given birth to Henrik Faison, later known as Peter August, through a bizarre memory transfer procedure orchestrated by Caesar himself. These elements weren't isolated. Jason Morgan's arc intertwined with his identical twin Drew Kane, brainwashed and presumed lost until fate intervened on Casa Dini Island. Even fraternal twins like Willow Tate and the villainous Nell Benson exploded onto the scene, their unknown connection fueling custody battles and moral dilemmas that gripped audiences. And who could forget the chilling Collins Chamberlain duo, Kevin and Ryan, brothers who knew of each other's existence from the start, their rivalry spanning decades of psychological terror. With such a tapestry of twin tales, introducing Casper as Caesar's twin wouldn't strain credibility, it would amplify it, perhaps revealing shared childhood traumas that forged their villainous paths. What elevates this theory from rumor to riveting possibility is the soap's history of memory transfers, a sci-fi trope that General Hospital employs to resurrect the unresurrectable. Fans who have followed the show for the last decade and a half will vividly recall Robin Scorpio Drake's harrowing mission to Casadini Island, where she unearthed Drew in cryogenic stasis. His mind fragmented and his identity swapped with Jason's through Caesar Faison's experimental machinations. Now envision Caesar's final, unfinished project, placing his twin Casper in a similar suspended state, only to transfer his own memories and cutting into Casper's body as a bid for immortality. This could explain the eerie sense that Caesar's influence lingers, even after his apparent demise, his essence reborn in a brother's form, directing operations from the shadows. Adding layers, consider Nina Reeves' tragic twin daughters, separated at birth by the scheming Madeline Reeves, a plot that unraveled family secrets with devastating consequences. What if Madeline's web extended further, concealing Nathan West's own twin brother, stolen away in infancy? Liesl Obrecht, ever the keeper of dark secrets, knew of Nina's plight but might have been in the dark about Nathan's sibling, especially if the child was whisked away under the cover of night. Such a revelation could tie Nathan's resurrection to Caesar's, suggesting a broader conspiracy of swapped identities and hidden bloodlines that spans generations. This Faison twin hypothesis doesn't just patch plot holes. It opens doors to profound character explorations. For Anna, confronting Casper would dredge up buried regrets over her history with Caesar, testing her resolve as a spy and a mother figure to Peter. Jason and Drew's twin bond might parallel the Faisons, prompting reflective moments on nature versus nurture in villainy. Meanwhile, Britt's storyline gains urgency. Her medication tampering becomes a personal vendetta from a family scorned, perhaps linked to Liesl's own complicities. In Port Charles, where resurrections are as common as Quartermain feuds, Casper's emergence could herald a new era of alliances and betrayals, blending old grudges with fresh horrors. As the writers continue to surprise, one thing remains certain: the Faison legacy is far from buried, and its hidden branches promise to entwine with every corner of the canvas.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.